Okay.
There we go.
There we go. Hey everyone. All right, Brittany here. So I'm so excited to try something new, and I'm so excited to have Bailey with me today. She was one of my girls that did the Little Black Dress Challenge, 1 and 2, and she honestly, how we met was through OTF, and she's a phenomenal person. So, Bailey, just tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your lifestyle, because I know lifestyle goes a lot into, health and wellness and kind of
Yeah,
your goals.
yeah, for sure. Like you said, my name's Bailey. Um, my lifestyle. So I'm actually pretty sedentary at work, as you can see. I'm literally sitting. This is what I do all day. I'm an attorney, but I really enjoy being active. I was a runner and a dancer my whole life. I found OTF when I was in law school, and so then I moved to Florida to be with my husband and continued to take there. Had you as a coach, and then we moved out here to New Mexico and moved during the pandemic, so that obviously changed a lot of things, and we couldn't be as active, and it really made me want to start looking at other ways to be healthy because I no longer had the option of being like, oh, I'll just go to the gym and like try to balance everything out, and I was realizing with the amount of work I was putting in, I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted to. So
Yeah, the pandemic like definitely messed with like a
yeah.
lot of people's routine. So, like you said, like you were going to OTF. So like what was like your biggest like, because like as a coach I constantly hear all the time like, oh, I want to make this change, or X, Y, and Z, but then they don't do it. So, which is fine, they're not there yet. But what made you be like, all right, you know what, let's make this change, like let's do this.
Yeah. So really it was moving to New Mexico because where I live, we don't have an OTF, and moving during a pandemic was obviously difficult, but New Mexico still to this day, I mean, we're filming this in January of 2021 and we're still locked down. Like I'm allowed to be at work, but I don't really I can work from home, but it just works better for me. But in general, like we still don't have in-person dining. We had that taken away from us. Like I can go to the gym now, but it's only like really the one on base. Off base gyms are open, but I got here and stuff was super shut down, which makes sense. I mean, New Mexico is a pretty poor state, so they can't really afford their hospitals getting crazy. But like we got here and it was just, our move in general was insane. Long story short, we were part of the stop order, and then which actually I found out when I was like in your class. I remember because I had a freak out. Um,
For that.
yeah, I had a freak out, and randomly there was a colonel from one of the Air Force bases in class who like calmed me down. But we got told like we didn't know what we were doing for about 3 weeks, and then we were told with 14 hours notice to get on the road to come to New Mexico. So we get here and nothing's open, and we're in an Airbnb, and I was like I just was like, okay, well, I hadn't started work yet. And I was cooking a lot. I remember because it was one of those things where you're like, oh, well, I don't have anything to do. And this is the only like activity other than watching hours and hours of Netflix. And I was realizing that like the amount of work I had put in, I wasn't seeing the results I wanted to see. And I was kind of in this weird limbo. And then you posted about LBD. And I told my husband, I was like, I'm going to do this. And he was like, okay, well, let's think about it. That's a lot of commitment because I think I've told you this. I'm really not good at diets. Like I'm just not. And so whenever you're like, no, this isn't a diet, this is a lifestyle change, I was like, okay, I can buy that. Tell me more. So it was moving here and just not having access and realizing that like, hey, I'm nearing my 30s. Like if I don't get this under control, like it's not like I was in a terrible spot, but it's like if I don't get this under control, life is only going to get harder, you know? It doesn't like, oh, my metabolism's going to be magic one day. And like those 5 pounds I wanted to lose, they're just gone. I don't understand.
If only it was that easy. Like, to be
Right.
completely honest though, like when you came to me and asked me more about LBD, I was like, I don't know if I could provide anything to you. Like, to be completely honest,
Aw.
like when I saw you at Orange Theory, like you're an amazing runner, and I was like, oh. And granted, I was pregnant at the time, so I was like already envious of your movement. And you already had great shape, great muscles, like you looked phenomenal. Like you were, and you still are, body goals. And so like
Aw, thanks.
me, I was like, I don't know if I could provide any value to you, to be completely 100% honest.
That's funny because like I said, like I know I like in my mind, I understand that like I'm at a good place. Like I have done what I need to do to be at a good place. But like I was saying, like it wasn't now seeing the results I've had from things like LBD and just continuing to work with you, like I'm realizing that even I was working against myself, like the amount I was eating and then not eating and then not really focusing. Like it was through you that I realized I was like, oh, my body really doesn't process gluten or dairy. Like I tell people like, I don't have an allergy, I don't have a sensitivity, whatever. I just don't, it just doesn't work. And I didn't know that till I was working with you, you know?
Mm-hmm. And that's what I always like tell people too. Is just like you have to know, like it's not everything's going to be a cookie cutter, right? Gluten and dairy tends to be, what inflammation happens most with those two. Am I ever going to give up cheese? No. Am I going to give up half and half? No. But I mean, it's always about moderation for sure. And I think a lot of people they always go into these fads, right? And they're like the keto diet, and oh god, don't even get me started with that. I don't. Oh, it drives me. I'm trying not to cuss on this so people can watch, but it drives me effing crazy. And oh my god, don't even get me started. So yeah, so I am so glad that you said that, and yeah. So what would you say like would be your like biggest aha moment then?
Oh gosh. The biggest aha moment was probably, you know, that I really struggled for the first like 2 weeks on this. I remember, so we have a big WhatsApp, right, with everybody that's doing this program. And I remember I posted like, I just really miss food. And I had so many people like comment back to me. And I remember you individually messaged me. You're like, what's going on? Like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. So dramatic. But I realized that I wasn't missing food. I was missing being irresponsible. And I realized through LBD that it was like, hey, like you can have fun things like our cheat meal. I know some people are like really strict on their cheat meals. You know me. I was like, nope, I'm making queso and I'm drinking margaritas. And like
Yep.
I would feel terrible Sunday morning, but I was like, nope, it was all worth it. It was so worth it because it's the one thing I looked forward to. Not the one thing, but it was like I could just be like, all right, light at the end of the tunnel, here comes pizza, you know? I think the biggest aha was realizing like how much better I felt and how much more empowered I started to feel of like, oh, I can be full, I can feel great, and then I can still enjoy what I want to enjoy when it's time. You know, and I think so many people like there's this whole culture right now of like treat yourself, and I agree, like not, you don't need to be a 00 and like there's what's healthy, right? Like let's be healthy for whatever is you, but there's also this like atmosphere of like, oh, like wine every night, and like if you want those chips, girl, go get them. And you're like, yeah, like there's time and a place for that. But I feel like a lot of your program like helped me realize like, no, there's also makes you feel a lot better, and you really can treat yourself if you're taking care of everything.
And I agree. I think like especially like now, and I'm all about self-care, self-love.
Yeah.
But I mean, we do have to be healthy, right? Like again, we don't need to be a 00. I don't think I ever was a 00. I don't think I ever will be a 00. Like,
No.
no. But it's just you kind of want to like change that mindset, and I think a lot of people struggle with that mindset. Like, all right, just say thank you to your body. Like you're eating healthy, you're putting good food into your body, because you mentioned like kind of like how you felt better. Like how
Yeah.
did you feel better?
Oh gosh. Well, I definitely started sleeping better. Like that was like it was funny before this, you and I were talking about how like, oh, I didn't sleep well last night. But that's like when I think back though to like what I used to feel like waking up, like it used to be, it was so hard for me to get out of bed. I just felt so drained, so puffy. And like, you don't realize that's how you're feeling until you feel better. And you're like, oh, my reference point has completely changed. Um, and then like my, and then there's the nice like side effects. You're like, yeah, my skin's a lot better and my hair looks better. And you're like, that's great. But just overall, like, I don't get super tired anymore. And I don't feel like, it's also been a mental, like, I don't feel out of control. It's not like oh my gosh, all of these things are happening. It's like, no, I know, like, I have a plan. This part I can control. I don't know if you've heard of James Clear, like from Atomic Habits.
I'm actually listening to that book right now. It's
Oh,
like, oh my God, like I'm like listening to it and I'm like,
yeah.
it's like
I
everything
actually,
I've been
okay,
trying to eat, oh my God, like regurgitate is in this
yeah.
book. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm a smart person.
I haven't read it yet. I actually just got his newsletter like randomly. It's on my list to read this year, but he has a newsletter and he had this quote a few weeks ago that said, the more disciplined your environment, the less disciplined you have to be. And that really sticks with me. And like, I think your program like helped with that, because it's like, okay, I'm eating this for lunch, I'm eating this for a snack, I'm eating this, breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. Something happens, I can move things around. And it was just it made so much more sense where I was like, okay, I have this part figured out, because my job is insane. Like any day, like the craziest day was like literally I'm sitting in my office and someone walks in and they're like, hey, there's a murder suspect at the police station, you need to go. Right. And you're like, okay, here I go. Or it can be like someone calls me and, hey, I just got arrested, something crazy. So I need to be able to just like go and not think about other things. And so having that part of my life like figured out was like, okay, everything else I can handle now,
So,
So
okay, so it sounds like meal prep, obviously, because I always preach like meal prep is extremely important. And
yeah.
because that's also why I wanted you to kind of talk about your lifestyle, because
Yeah.
someone's life is like, it's crazy, right? Like,
Yeah.
like at a drop of a hat, like you gotta go. And I always tell people to be prepared is setting up for success, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, do you essentially agree with that? Like, what is like your biggest like I already said aha, but like what would you say someone who is trying to like start a new healthy routine?
Yeah. So two things. One, you broke it down to like start small. Like don't try to take on too much at once. Like what I appreciated about LBD is it was like, okay, we're going to work on the eating aspect of this. And like you had the option to do workouts with you, but it was also like, you don't have to do a single workout during this whole thing if you don't want to. Like it's really like just focus on this part, right? And I think for a lot of my LBD, I actually wasn't working out that much. Like in comparison, I wasn't really doing strength training because I was in an Airbnb for 24 hours a day, right? Um, and then the other thing that I think was helpful was learning the prep. Like when you had us get our grocery lists, and even now I do that. Like my husband and I will sit down and be like, okay, like what all do we need? It's a little easier right now just because of how we're both eating, like with a very, okay, I eat the same 7 things, but it's 7 different things a day. you know?
Yes.
Um,
The spice
but
is
meal prep,
up, but
meal prep is huge. I mean, I've gotten it down. I say anybody that's like, oh, I don't know how to meal prep. If you have an Instant Pot or a crock pot, you're going to be just fine. Like as long as you have a stove and something else, like we make rice for like the week and I make my turkey like 4 days at a time kind of thing. And it's really easy, right? Like you're just like, okay, we're just going to focus on this. And I think getting your family involved is helpful too. My husband is one of those crazy people who could literally eat the same. For 1 year, he literally ate the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like he's just, it's funny because he's super regimented like that, but not in other areas. But now that we're on the same page, like he's really helped me with, okay, this is what we're going to prep. We're going to get all of this done and then we're going to be done. And so we've gotten it down to like pretty much an hour on Sundays. It's like, all right, here we go. We're done. Yeah.
jealous.
Now, I will say like that is with the Instant Pot and the crock pot and the stove going. like,
Oh yeah. Like I honestly was actually talking to my membership group last week about, or maybe a week or two ago, but how it's always just find ways, like you don't have to complicate it. Just
no.
find ways to like make things work. Like I did mention the crock pot because just throw in chicken, throw in some vegetables. You got your vegetables and your chicken. All you have to do is just put it all in there, turn it up, and just wait it out.
And it doesn't have to be complicated. Like I remember, and like we still do this, is we'll make chicken and you can literally put chicken taco seasoning and a jar of salsa in the crock pot. And then if you have a KitchenAid, you throw that thing in the KitchenAid and it shreds it in no time. And you're like, look, like I literally have chicken for the week and I had 3 things. And you're right. Like then if you were like put like peppers or whatever, you're like, cool, I'm done. Like, I mean,
it doesn't have to be complicated.
no,
And another thing that I hear a lot too is like people when they think about eating healthy, they think like it is the same thing over and over and over again, and they think that the recipes are bland. And
no.
and so okay, so because obviously you've done my programs, tell me what your honest opinion on oh my god, the recipes essentially were, because I honestly hear this so often was, well, I just don't want to eat chicken, rice, and broccoli. Well,
Yeah, no, that's not a thing. What I appreciate, I still use your recipes because you just have so much variety. I remember your mango, is it mango pineapple salsa?
oh my god, girl.
Oh my gosh. I make that for parties now. My husband loves it so much that if we're going somewhere, he's like, okay, what all do we need to do? I'll do half the chopping, you do the other half. Cause like loves it.
Oh, it is super good.
100% honest. I think there was only one thing I didn't like, and that's just because I'm not a soup person. And I told you that, like,
Yeah.
but my husband loved it. My mom, I also got my mom to do LBD. She loves it. Like, and that's not a reflection on you at all. That's totally me just being like, look, that's just not my deal, but everybody else loved it. So obviously I'm the problem, not the recipe,
And obviously not every recipe is gonna, like, I'm not like, and I was actually talking to my husband about this yesterday, like, cause he made bacon and I don't like bacon. And
Oh, okay.
I know, see, I get that, I get that same exact response every time I say I don't like bacon. And
So wait, what do you do for your frittata?
I don't include it in mine.
Oh, dude, I loved your frittata so much. I made it for Christmas morning. Yeah, like it was
like, I love that when that people actually like love the recipes, because
oh yeah,
like and that's the thing, like I always want to tell people, like, eating healthy doesn't have to taste that, like it really doesn't.
no, I know my mom is a huge advocate for your dressings. Like I know she shared them with like my aunts because she's like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Like the apple, I went and saw her a few months ago and she was like, okay, I've got all the Brittany Wick dressing. So what do you want? Like, yes.
Oh my god, yeah. So you okay, so for those watching or listening, yeah, Bailey got her mom to do this LBD program too, and her mom is amazing. Like she said the same thing that Bailey's saying. And so oh my god, I'm just like thinking about how much like you guys are just like, it's just amazing. And I just love how like supportive you guys were of each other and just like in the group, because like I think that it plays like such a big thing too, is having that support, especially on that, like that journey. And like you said, just getting your family involved. Like, do you think, and then granted I know your mom did it kind of after you, but do you think it kind of helped you continue eating healthier and like still making those changes?
Yeah, for sure. Knowing that I had somebody that knew, like detox days are hard, especially in the beginning when you're just trying to get used to it. But like, you also have to realize, like you say at OTF, like you can do anything for 30 seconds. You're like, you can eat anything for 1 meal. You're fine. Like you're totally fine. Okay. And it was just nice having her. No, well, one, it was nice being able to have done it before her. So when she had questions, I could work with her because I wanted my mom to do it. I think she might have shared this with you, but my mom's in her 60s. She's a 3 times now cancer survivor, like goes to OTF more than anybody I've ever met, like very health conscious. And I was really concerned that she wasn't getting enough protein or like eating enough. And so it was helpful, like me starting it and then her being like, oh, okay, I think that's something I want to do. And then afterwards, like I struggled more in the second 4 weeks, but I think that's just because I like I kind of had this mindset during the first 6 of like, okay, I'm going to be done after this. And then the second 4 weeks, I was like, no, Bailey, this is a lifestyle. This is not just a one-time thing, you know? But it was nice because during my second part, she was doing it. So when I was really struggling, I could talk to her and be like, look, like, I just want X. And she was saying, nope, like nope, do what your mom says, you know?
I know my mom says the same thing too. She's like, I don't care because I said so.
Yeah, right.
Moms. I guess I should be saying that to my kids now too because I said so. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, you guys like both did amazing. And like you mentioned the whole mindset thing too, because I think a lot of people like they go into it thinking, oh, it's only 6 weeks, it's only 4 weeks, it's only a month. But like, the whole point is to create the sustainable lifestyle. Like
Mhm.
your health isn't gonna go away in 6 weeks.
No.
Just the foundation of essentially your journey, right?
Yeah.
So I already personally know, but tell me what you are doing now with your goals and like your fitness and your wellness and all that other good stuff.
Yeah. So we got done with LBD. I restarted it when you did another round. I wasn't as strict the second time around just because I like felt like I had a better base, right? Because you're right, it's a lifestyle. Like, didn't do the detox days because I was just like, no, I'm not doing that this time.
I don't know. The detox days, like, yeah, like they are rough. Like I did them a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I just need caffeine.
Right.
Like everything else, I was fine, but the caffeine was the one that I struggled with. But anyway, yeah, continue.
Yeah, no, so I did that and then kind of just like you and I had talked about, I guess I should say, I'm doing a bikini competition now. You and I had talked about it at the end of my time doing LBD. And then whenever I was revamping and I was talking to you about kind of like, I realized that one thing that was great about LBD is I needed something to work toward,
Mm-hmm.
like to have this goal and this idea. And like, it didn't have to be super strict. But then you and I talked about like, well, maybe I should try a bikini competition because frankly, I had always wanted to do one, but it was more of like, well, I'm not in good enough shape for that. And like, I don't think I can do that. And then doing LBD made me realize it's like, if I can do this, if I can like legitimately focus on me and do that, I can do a bikini competition. So I worked with you, found like, we're using the same coach, if you haven't announced, sorry, what are you doing, Brittany?
Oh yes, I am doing one too, but not the same one. I wish we were doing the same one. I really do. Yeah. My goal is obviously a certain one, but you are definitely a lot further along than I am. Um, so yeah, I don't know.
Well, I didn't just have a baby. Let's be real here. So,
That weight loss is no joke. But
but
no,
yeah.
I'm actually, and what's so funny is like I think you and I are so similar in so many different ways. Like our body type, like our mentality, like oh my god, I got this itch. But like one thing that I noticed too is like, yeah, I have my own program and I try to do it. And that's when you redid the program too, is when I was like, okay, well, I'm trying to lose this baby weight. But like, I noticed I wasn't as strict because like nobody was holding me accountable except myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, a lot of people think that they could do it on their own. And don't get me wrong, there are people who can, but sometimes you need that accountability person. And
Yeah.
for me, like, I know that I need to work towards something. Like, I
Yeah.
need a hard date, be like, okay, now this is the day that you need to be no shit ready. And then so, like, I think that's one of the reasons why I decided that I wanted to do a competition. So like now that you mentioned it too, like yeah, we're exactly on the same page as far as like trying to find something to work towards.
And I don't think it has to be like just like obviously what we're doing is very aesthetic based. That's great. My husband used to be a power lifter and is now we joke that we've switched. So like now I'm going towards like strength things and he's going towards endurance. So he's actually working toward a marathon next in this upcoming October. And like that's his goal, right? And that's what keeps him accountable. And I don't even think it has to necessarily be something you pay for. If you're like, hey, I want to be able to say I can run a 5K in like this amount of time, or, I want to be X amount of strong. Like I know some people are like, I want to be able to play with my kids and not get tired. You're like, that's great. Like give yourself a date then, and if you don't hit it, it's okay, but at the same time, like, what's stopping you? Like,
No,
you
I
know,
absolutely agree. I think, yeah, and like again, it doesn't even have to be just like a competition like that. I mean, I obviously and you obviously have your own reasons on why we want to do a competition because as you're finding out, competitions are expensive. They're
yeah,
very time consuming. But I mean, it is so much more, obviously we have our own reasons, we have our own goals, but yeah, it is so much more than just that. Like just like you said, like whether it's a marathon, because marathons have that date, like that
mhm,
hard set date. Like I think the biggest thing is you definitely need to have that deadline because
mhm,
otherwise then you're going to keep pushing it back.
yeah,
And especially if you don't have accountability like person or a coach or whatever, like that deadline is going to at least move you along because I
yeah,
know like in my experiences, like I know myself, like if I don't have someone to hold me accountable and I don't have a set date, like I'm just going to keep pushing it back.
yeah,
That's how I am. But yeah,
yeah.
it doesn't have to be like a competition.
No, no. And like, I mean, heck, it could be like, okay, if I just want to be able to say X by this time, cool. Like, just do it, just literally be like Nike, just do it.
I love it. I love it. So okay, so you're doing a competition.
Mhm.
When is the competition?
March 20th, 2021. I'm doing the Samson Showdown. I'm going to be in the true novice, and open division. About my suit. So that was exciting. I've done my first posing class. I have my heels. I'm working with your coach, Body by O. Plug.
Kim, I'm sending
Yeah.
people your way.
Yeah. But yeah, it's you're talking about like your why. I think I realized like I really wanted to do this to say I did it and to be like, look, I might not always have this time in my life and I might not always be able to devote this much of my time to this. So let's just get it done and then see how we feel. And I love them. I mean, I can already tell you this is something I'm going to keep doing. Like, my husband's a little shocked at the amount of money we spent, but you're like, sorry. I knew he didn't realize it.
My husband, yeah, same
Yeah.
thing. Because it does add up. Because and another thing I tell people too is, investing in your health, it's an investment, right?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to, even if you're not paying a coach or you're not getting the supplements, like you still have to buy healthy food, you still have to buy at least the multivitamin.
Yeah.
Lord
Like,
forbid.
please just take if we can get you to do anything, just take a multivitamin and eat protein 4 times a day, just 4 times. I know it seems weird. Like you're like, but that's more than meals in a day. You're like, just 4 times a day, just try it.
Yeah, and like yeah, I mean it doesn't have to be go crazy, like like we are, like we're on supplements and training and Lord forbid everything else, but health is an investment. Like you are going, regardless, you are going to spend that money.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's a lot cheaper than dealing with the medical fallout from things. As much as like what you can control. Obviously, I'm not
Absolutely.
dissing on anybody that has genetic issues. Like I totally get that, but it's a lot cheaper than dealing with medical issues later.
Hmm.
And like I think that people are like, oh, the healthy food. You're like, it's actually a lot less expensive than you think it is if you're smart about it. One
Yeah.
thing that's been good about the pandemic is my husband and I have like legitimately, we're so proud every time we finish a whole thing of spinach. We're like, look at us go.
Oh, man, I struggle with that still.
Oh, I mean, that's become one of my favorite foods, that and broccoli, which was ironic because before LBDA, hated broccoli. And now it's like every night he's like, we're having broccoli again. I'm like, yep, this is this is where we're at.
I do broccoli. Oh, makes me gassy. That's why. See,
Oh,
and then that's why I like, kind of going through like different programs, like you kind of see, like going back to the gluten and dairy, like what foods work for you and what foods don't. Like broccoli is a great health food, but
yeah.
I know TMI, yeah, it makes me gassy. So like I don't incorporate it in my diet at all.
No, I mean, you're fine. I think at one point you wanted us to have like Greek yogurt on something, and I ate it and I was like, yep, never doing that again. Like, which
Yeah.
is just, but I mean, you're right. Like, you have to figure it out, and you're not going to know until you like get out of your comfort zone and try something different. Like, oh my gosh, what is it? Like the tomato, egg, avocado
Oh.
toast thing. Oh my gosh, so good.
Someone actually mentioned that yesterday too. They're like, "This is the bomb. This is like my jam right now." I'm like, "Oh, I love hearing
Yeah.
that."
Yeah. Oh, I know my mom regularly still eats the spaghetti squash shrimp um tomato sauce thing. And I'm like, yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
Yeah, no. See, eating healthy doesn't have to taste bad, but
Oh no,
it
it's
doesn't have to be expensive either. Like you just have to be smart about it. And then
yeah.
like, and again, going into like a mind shift thing, it's just like how much are you spending out, or how much are you spending when you eat out?
Oh my
Like,
gosh. Yeah. I don't I don't know if I've even necessarily told you. Well, I think I've told you a little bit about this. So obviously being an attorney, I have a lot of student loans. And, one thing was that my husband and I, like, we are really strict on a budget because we're trying to pay them down super quick. Um, and so you talk about like being healthier, like it's actually helped us because we have a food budget and like it does not really allow for a lot of eating out. I'm not saying we never do, but you're also just like, well, it's a heck of a lot cheaper to, make it at home. So we've gotten a lot better about like trying to find workarounds for things. But I mean, it is an investment in us, and like it's something that like has really helped us. Like I was saying, like when we finish our spinach or whatever, we're like, yeah, let's go. No food waste. It's become a competition. We're not competitive people at all.
I know vegetables always seem to like go so fast. Like I always try to. My biggest struggle is always trying to get my husband to eat vegetables.
Hmm.
Like, so we do the green drinks. I make him do the green drink at least, like the super green.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if I could get him to eat all the vegetables in the house and the vegetables don't go to waste, like I consider that a huge win.
Oh yeah. My husband's the same way. He does a reds and a greens powder just to like make sure he doesn't miss stuff. And I'm like, it's be a lot easier if you just whatever. It's fine. If that's what you can make it through, that's what you can make it through.
I know. I deal with the same thing with my husband, and then like I'll tell him certain things, but he has to hear it from someone else besides his wife to actually believe it. So
That's me. That's
why?
totally me, man. I doing all of these, it's really funny because like I said, Caleb's super, that's my husband, is like super regimented on things, and that like when it comes to health, he can definitely do it. Other than we can't have sweets in the house, which like I can't have sweets in the house now. I was telling you, sorry, Kim, the other night I ate some chocolate chips. I felt so bad. But like, I, yeah, now we just can't keep stuff in there. And it's just funny because they'd be like, I told you like you needed to meal prep and you needed to do all of this stuff. I'm like, I have to have someone else tell me. I'm just required.
It is. It's a struggle sometimes, but wife problems, husband problems, marriage problems. There we go.
Yeah, it's part of the fun. These are the games we play.
Yeah, no big deal. So I know you're a busy woman, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time. But last question, I promise. What advice would you give someone starting off their journey?
Um, when you're starting, have a lot of grace for yourself. You're gonna have like your time. It's like people who do New Year's resolutions. Like you're gonna be great. Everything's gonna be great, and then you're gonna might start falling off. Like it's okay. You can get back on it at any point. Don't let one setback ruin the rest of your day or the rest of your week. Like, we all have those times when we're like, oh, well, I already ate XYZ or I missed that workout. So I guess I don't have to, like, what's the point now? You're like, what's the point now? Is like, get back on that saddle. Get back on that saddle. Like, it's okay. Give yourself grace. Like, we're not looking for perfection. We're striving for progress. So, yeah.
Yes, because I always say that. So I'm so glad just
Yeah.
coming off like hearing it from someone else.
Nope.
So, yes,
Definitely from you.
her. If not listen to me, listen to her.
Oh, and as you always tell me, trust the process. Trust the process. Trust the process.
Something that I myself need to work on. It's a struggle, but it does go a lot with mindset, just those mindset shifts.
Oh yeah.
Well, Bailey, thank you so much for being here and like
Yeah.
interview you. I know for a fact you're gonna do phenomenal at your competition. Like I'm like so excited. Like, oh my god, I can't wait. Like you're gonna do amazing, and I think this is just the beginning for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you working with me. It's been wonderful. Like seriously, such a change.
I love it. All right, girl. I love you so much. If you guys have any questions, feel free. I'm sure she has amazing blogs. You could follow her on Instagram. What's your IG?
Bailey L. McGowan, and it's EYNAN. So
Okay, so as I think I have it recorded where you can see her name.
okay.
And then your blog.
It's Bailey's Dailies, BAILEYSDAILEYS.com.
Yes, I love it. So she has amazing stuff. Go ahead, follow her. Check out her blogs. Don't forget to check out mine. It's on www.brittanywick.com /blog. But yeah, go ahead, subscribe to the YouTube, follow me on Instagram, follow her on Instagram, follow her blogs, just follow both of us.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions, obviously reach out to one of us. If you want to hear more about Bailey, go ahead, obviously reach out to her. Or if you're interested in starting a program, reach out to me. I would love to get you started. But again, thank you so much, Bailey.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.